We're a couple minutes early, so we're going to wait and let a few people jump on. All right, we're going to give it just a few more minutes. Um, I really don't get to see everything you guys are seeing, so this is going to be really fun and interesting. I do have someone who is actually a safe 6 feet away from me who's going to try to communicate and give me a little bit of feedback as we work through this. So please be patient. It's the first Facebook Live, Facebook, pretty much anything that I've done. So I'm a little off my game. Hi, Canada. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. First, I would like to start out with saying I hope everyone is staying safe and well out there in the new world and existence that we are working in today. And I hope that everybody's taking good precautions and doing what we're supposed to do with social distancing. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I have Tiffany who's sitting a safe 6 to 8 feet away from me. So if you hear strange voices, that means that she's telling me something that you guys are saying. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them, and I'll get them and try to answer them as we go through the presentation. In addition, this is pretty much an interactive, so I'm curious how this is going to work on Facebook Live. So if y'all could please just put a comment hi or what state you're in the comment section, it would be helpful to let me know that you hear me, because I am going to ask a couple questions that I think is going to be important for you guys to be able to communicate with each other. I rarely have all the answers, but I do tend to ask a lot of questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the presentation. Tiffany, we getting some comments? Awesome. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start out by introducing myself, if this works. There we go. So my name is Tammy Lell, and I am the Merchandising Vice President at Stuller. I'm one of three with a focus on back of store. I just popped up a picture, and that there is my family. That's the reason I get up every day and do what I do and enjoy doing it. Uh, I have two beautiful girls, two beautiful sons, and I was fortunate enough this past year to gain a son, and that's my son-in-law. I am a huge LSU fan. Another reason for having you put your state and where you came from is, I'm a competitive nature as well. Huge LSU, huge UL supporter and fan. By supporter, I'm talking financial. All of those kids you see in that previous picture went to one of those universities, and I paid for it, as well as I have a degree from both of those. Very blessed to be a Stellar employee for the past 25 years. Been very blessed to work in most departments at Stellar. I'm going to leave IT outside of that, so you'll probably notice that with my technical difficulties that I'll probably experience in this presentation. Huge fan of wine. It keeps me functional, and it helped me to raise all those kids over there. Love the beach. Haven't been there in quite a period of time. Not sure when I'll get back, but I only hope it misses me as much as I miss it. And I like to run. Not very good at it, but definitely like to do it. So today we're going to talk about repair. And we're going to have a couple different conversations. Pricing is definitely a big one, and something that we should always be focused on is making sure that we're maximizing our profits and making everything that we can on everything that we do. Jewelers are a very highly skilled position, and I think it's very important that we remember that when we are creating our pricing and that we don't tend to give that away. And then why bother with repair? I think we're going to have some good conversation as well in regards to why bother doing repair. So let's jump right in. So when we think about repair, we think about pricing, we think about all the different services that we value. I'm curious about what you consider in that, but let's talk about a couple. So appraisals, you charge for that? Is it something that you do a lot of? Cleaning jewelry, is that a service that you give, or is that something that you charge for? Sizing, something that you do, something that you charge for. Stone verification is something that's very new, but also very, very relevant in today's market with lab grown stones. I think it's important, and I think customers are definitely willing to pay for that service. Is it something that you're currently offering? Do you have the equipment to do it? This is definitely one of the conversations I like to have face to face, because it's always a good argument, and I enjoy a good argument. Stone verification in today's world, even if you are a GG, is not something that is doable uh, without equipment to help you do that. So I hope everybody is getting their information on that. Do you change watch straps? If you do you charge for it? How much do you charge? Do you try to upsell? Battery changing. I've heard a lot of different opinions about changing batteries. How much you charge for it. If you offer a one-time, get your battery changed as frequently as you would like, service, that comes a lot of different ways. Retipping prongs, that's something that's very common. Love to have discussions on how you charge when you're doing it with a torch versus a laser, and whether or not you discount that. And we're going to do a little bit of exercise on that in a minute. Replacing shanks, engraving services, and customization. So all very relevant, and that you guys would probably add to that an additional 100. So why bother with it? Why do it? Repair is very important for jewelers. It brings in a very steady, on average, 14% of your sales, and that's month over month. I think it's important to understand and have the discussion. When I'm talking about sales, I'm talking about not gross profit. If you're pricing your repairs correctly, your profitability on that is way higher than that of, let's say, other products that you would carry in your line, such as a large diamond. You're not getting a 60 or 70 margin on a diamond as much as you would like to, right? So why do you do repair? There's a lot of great reasons to do repair services. First and foremost, it gives you that additional revenue. It's a consistent 14% of your sales. It drives in new customers. In this whole industry, in my opinion, and y'all can feel free to argue with me in comments, it'd be fun, is about relationships. Your customers come back to you because of word of mouth, because they have recognized that you've done something or they need someone. Pieces that get repaired have an emotional value to them, and they're bringing them in only to fix them. Women in this industry all know that we have big jewelry boxes full of jewelry that we never take to get repaired. If we're bringing it in to be repaired, it's because it has a sentimental value to us. I'm sorry. So I want to ask the question, and if y'all could comment on this one. Anybody who does not have a bench jeweler on site, that they're outsourcing that, it's interesting in today's times. Jewelers are coming harder and harder to come by. The skill set is not something that everybody is dreaming of learning. And as all of you know, being a bench jeweler is not easy work, and it's also very craftsman. It's something that you have to have a passion for. So let's talk about pricing and transparency, which is pretty much what we talked about. So here we're going to go and we're going to try to do some interactive. Curious to see how this is going to work out. So I'm going to need your help. The first thing that I want to do is I want to play a role here, and I'm going to be your customer, and I'm going to bring a repair into you. I'm going to bring you a 14 karat yellow, 4 millimeter plain wedding band. I live in the South. We like to eat rice and gravy. If you've ever been here, you know how good the food is. And I'm going to need you to size my ring from a size 6 to a size 7. And what I want to know is, how much would each of you charge me for this repair? If you could put a comment in the comment section, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to give you all a couple minutes to do that. Or maybe not minutes, maybe seconds. Getting anything, Tiffany? Nobody wants to share? Don't be shy. $55, okay. 85. Just a little bit of a lag. Oh. I've gotten a lot of different answers on this through time. I'm going to let the comments roll. I think each one of you can see each other's comments. So 85 so far is the highest, and the lowest is 35. I'm going to tell you that the highest that I've ever gotten on this was $150. So there are some folks that's getting away with $150. And the lowest that I've ever received thus far has been $17. So it's definitely a wide range, but I'm curious to see if we're still getting some comments.
Yeah, 75 Canadian,
Uh-huh.
37, 50, 55. So still all within that 35 to 85 range.
35 to 85. Do you have an average about? 60s? Okay, so the folks who are on here are absolutely no different than many of the ones that we've talked about this in a lot of our sessions. The average is generally about $75 for this for a sizing. 150 has been the highest that I ever got, and I will tell you that that was a California customer. And I will tell you the lowest that I ever had came out of South Carolina. And the reason I say this is because you want to maximize your pricing. I will tell you that the person who was in South Carolina is a friend of mine. We've definitely chatted a lot more since they attended a session here at Stellar, and it was a lot of fun. But they raised their pricing to $60, thinking that everybody was going to complain and that they weren't going to get any more customers. But since they're up at $75, because they got no complaints, and then they were really challenging themselves on why they stayed so low. So I have a question, and yes or no works on this. How many of you actually have or use a guide for your pricing for your repair that you actually use? I'm going to give Geller. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, Geller's Blue Book is fantastic. However, it's very technical. So it's a guide, but you also have to keep in account your demographic, where you're located, how much competition you have around you. So I don't want to arguably tell you that there is a set price. So hopefully you didn't bounce one today, hoping I was going to tell you what the price for everything. However, I do want to challenge you that many times if you're on the low scale, there's definitely room. I'm going to ask another quick question. I know this is very interactive, and I think it's fun, and it seems to be working out. Tiffany's over here giving me a sign language, which I'm not good at, but this is fun. Um, how many of you actually discount work that is asked to be done on a laser? Any of you are discounting laser work? Nobody? No comments. How many of you discount Bob? And I'm going to say Bob's your jeweler. Are y'all discounting Bob? I tend to find that as jewelers, we tend to discount Bob, and we may be the jeweler, the owner, and the owner may be Bob. But a lot of times we'll discount Bob, but we won't discount our laser because we can see the price of our laser every time we make a payment, right? Or we keep remembering that check we wrote for that laser. But I would argue that Bob costs you money every day because they want to take a vacation, they want to go to the beach, they expect benefits. So Bob is more expensive than that laser in the long run. So I would challenge you not to discount Bob, even if you're Bob. I have a good friend who's a jeweler, and he ran his store for years, and now his wife only lets him sit in the back, and she stays in the front because she doesn't let him price or discount himself. The second one I have for you guys is watch battery changes. And I tried to make this very basic because you can get a lot of different things. I wasn't sure how this would work on Facebook Live, but do want to ask, how much would you charge me to change my basic Fossil watch? And it's a 376 change, and I'm positive that that's not the right battery. But so for you experts who are going to say not the right one, not a watch expert, but how much would you charge? How much do you charge your customers to change a watch battery? Okay.
Oh, option one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 14.99 and
No comments on I wouldn't touch a watch battery change? Nothing? No one said no way yet? Very good. Very good. Watch battery changes have been a great discussion, and that's the reason I use it as my repair option number two. Um, there's a lot that you can do with a watch battery change. Not recommending that you take a nice tag watch and just bounce with it or play, but a watch battery change can turn into a new watch strap, which could turn into there's some value to be had on changing watch batteries and upselling on the overall experience. I've seen some pretty dirty watch straps myself that if I worked at a counter, I'd definitely be trying to change. The basic change on a watch battery average pricing is usually about $25 because you're taking a risk when you pop that back off, right? So once you open that watch, you have taken risk for that watch, depending upon the value of the watch. So there's some that will be done $10 if it's a very cheap low end watch versus a watch that's a couple $100. They're not going to take the back off for less than 25. So that's a little bit on the pricing. So again, I'm not going to tell you what you should price, but I do challenge you to make sure that you're pricing effectively and that you're marking up your pricing accordingly. People again don't bring in their jewelry unless they trust you because of your work and your effort, and you're taking ownership somewhat of that. So you have to make sure that the value you're getting from it, you're gonna, when you change or you add a shank to a ring, or you fix the prongs on the ring, or no matter what process you're doing to that ring, once you've done that, then you somewhat have some reputation with that, so you're going to stand behind it. So it's very important that you actually charge enough for your services so that you can stay relevant. So the next question for the team is, do you actually have a pricing structure that you display in your stores? When your customer walks in, do you share with them, or do you have anything posted, anything on counters, anything that would tell them that if I bring in my ring and I need a sizing, the basic price on that? Does anybody have that type of transparency? Wait for a couple comments on that.
On the watch battery change, someone said they charge 1 fee to change it, and then they also have a lifetime service that they offer for
Lifetime.
39.
Ah,
So that's interesting.
yeah,
Um, Most people are saying no, they don't have anything published.
they have nothing published. So let's talk about that for just a minute, because that's been something that I've noted more and more. And as the world changes around us, and that's changing every single day now, but the consumers today are really fearful of the unknown. So let's talk about a couple other industries. When you go for lawn services, they always post their pricing. So you know what it is when you walk in, right? Ladies, when we go for a massage, which I know we could all use one right now, we go to the spa, the prices are posted. You wouldn't just go in and then wait until after the fact to find out how much they were going to charge you for that, right? uh, Hairstylists and barbers, you kind of want to know what that's going to cost when you walk in. Paying, $100 for a kid's cut would be a bad day. Medical services, that's always pretty much posted out there, and it's also something because it's posted. You're not really going to negotiate, right? I don't think anybody's going to go in and say, "Hey, doc, I want the $50 version of that surgery versus the $150 version," right? People negotiate less when they know what's expected. And if the pricing is posted, it kind of makes it authentic. Now, I'm not saying you got to post it like they do at the car dealership, but if you have something or a guide that you have published pricing that you have either in a book or on a drawer that you can open and flip open, it's no different than you're doing whenever you're using Geller as a guide for that. You're giving them a guide so that they know what's expected when they're doing pricing, and it doesn't look like you made it up as you went along, if that makes sense. Funeral services definitely are not negotiated. I mean, that's going to be pretty much what it is. You don't get to go in and negotiate the cheaper version of the funeral. The prices are posted. You pretty much know it when you walk in. They whip out a paper and they show you what each part of that's going to cost you, right? So the reason that I think it's important to have some guide that you can use in the front of a customer is pricing takes away the unknown, takes away the anxiety. If I'm taking in something, especially in today's time, everybody is concerned about their financial state, where they are, how much money they have to spend. And so it's really important that if you have something that you have laminated, you have something that's in a book that looks official, it makes them feel more at trust that you're charging them something that is a standard price versus I made this up because I looked at it and this is what it was, right? um, it makes it for a smoother conversation, a smoother sell, and especially if you have unskilled workers who are working some of your desks, right? Jewelry is it's something that you need to be an expert at if you want to start talking about the complexities of a ring, and just being able to post that makes the conversation a little easier, I think. And again, like I had said earlier, it's truly all about relationships. Your reputation, the relationships that you have in the marketplace, the relationships that you have out there. That's truly what makes your business what it is. It's your name, it's your brand, it's who you are. So this is just a quick question that I have, and I think this is fun. This I learned kind of the hard way, so I always like to include this. I think it's good for debate or conversation. But I'm sure that in today's world, here I'm doing Facebook Live instead of the workshop, which I think is very interesting. I miss all of you guys for workshop, by the way. We have a great time. Hope to see you next year. But social media to advertise your business, right? You guys all use that for your repair. I'm assuming you're talking about your repair services right now in a lot of your marketing and your social media and how you're talking about it. But I do have a question for you guys. Are y'all friends with everyone in your town? Like, is everybody in your town your personal Facebook friend, your Instagram friend, your Snapchat friend? And listen, I'm about to give away my age because I don't know the other hip things that people talk about or use in social media. But one of the things that we learned is how do you actually want to talk about your repair? How do you want to get your repair word out there so you can sell a lot of it? Is you really got to talk about who you're talking to and how you're talking. So this is what I think is cute. My daughter got married, by the way, and that is her ring. And I found out she was engaged on Facebook. Her babe took her out to California and proposed. But this is all of her friends and some of the other guys here. All of these were custom pieces. So part of this repair message, a lot of jewelers from around the community. Well, what's the one thing you note? They're all friends and buddies with each other. They're all in that same age group and bracket. So they're all getting proposed to at about the same time. So you don't want it's important that you find a way to talk about your custom, your repair, your things, but you need to figure out how to do it on their page, not yours. I hope that makes sense. Um, and then the last thing I want to wrap up with is while times have definitely changed right now, so it's how do you protect your business offering these services? Whether you're doing a custom, whether you're doing repair, no matter what you're doing, you really have a new business and industry. Lab grown stones are out there, and now COVID. I mean, you just have so many things that you have to concern yourself with. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of you and that you are actually protecting your business during these times. So I got a couple tips that just want to make sure we cover. Number one is you got to make sure you have a skilled jeweler. Your reputation is what you have. You got to make sure that you're working with good partners and that they represent you well. Very, very important, and I kind of talked about it at the very beginning, is understanding the changes in the industry, understanding that lab grown is out there and that those stones are not easily identified, making sure that you have the skill as well as the equipment to decide between the two. And that's most relevant if you're actually taking stones in from outside. So if you buy jewelry and then you repurpose those parts, if you are buying any stones off the street or anything as such, or even if you're buying stones, it doesn't matter who you buy them from. If you're using them to put them in your jewelry, as part of your service, then you have to have a way to know the difference because you don't want to sell a natural as a lab or a lab as a natural. You need to know distinctly the difference, and you need to make sure you're taking care of your jewelers and giving them the education that they need to know what they have in front of them. Make sure that you have the right tools. I think you guys all know that and want it. So part of that is having the testers and the screeners and making sure that you have that so that you can do what you need to do. So I actually can take some questions if anybody has any. Tiffany's waving at me, so let's see what and she wrote all kind of stuff on the board. Let's see what she got. Do you pay for repairs or upfront or at pickup? I think that's a great question. Um, so let's. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on that. I'll definitely give mine, but I think y'all can see each other's comments, so let's go through it. I've seen most cases that a deposit was put down and then the balance was paid at pickup. But let's hear some opinions of others. So let's go ahead and put that in there. I think that could be either. I think it's in your area and which one you're most comfortable with as far as your business goes. But I definitely, before I did any work, would make sure that I had a deposit. Oh, so we do have so a lot did say deposits. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I mean, if it's a really nice piece and they're asking you to size it or whatever the case may be, I'm not thinking you need a big deposit on that. The ring in itself would be the deposit. They're going to come back and get it, and they're going to have to pay for it to get their piece. So I think it depends. A basic chain repair, it depends on which one they have, but if your repairs are cost more than the piece is worth, then I definitely would expect something up front. Do we have any other questions? Well, I really appreciate everybody joining me today. This was quite interesting, a little different than what I'm used to, but I hope that it was helpful. And if any of you want to submit any questions and don't want to do them on here, if you want to have some additional dialogue, again, my name is Tammy Lale, and I would be more than happy to help you or find a source that could help you. And I hope you all have a great day. And again, stay safe and hope to see you all again soon.